The ferry rocked gently on the Aegean Sea as Claire Dawson leaned on the railing, wind tangling her sun-kissed hair. She was leaving everything behind. New York, her job, her fiancé, and most of all, her silence. Santorini shimmered ahead like a white crown on a sleeping giant. But Claire wasn't here for the view. She was here because of a letter that had arrived exactly 2 weeks after her sister Lily had drowned off this island's coast. Or so the police claimed. Claire, they're lying. I was never supposed to leave the island. If you come, bring no one. And whatever you do, don't trust the man in white. The ink was shaky, the signature unmistakable. Claire's heart hadn't stopped racing since. At the old port of Amudi, she met him. A local guide offered to take her bags. "You're Ms. Dawson? Your hotel sent me," he said with a gentle smile. He wore white linen, white hat, white teeth. Her throat dried. "Actually, I can manage." He didn't insist, but followed her all the way to the cliffside villa. Later that night, she saw him again, on the patio below, speaking urgently to a woman in black. Then suddenly she turned. It was Lily, or someone with her face. The next morning, there was no sign of either of them. Claire started her own investigation. She explored narrow alleys, old churches, abandoned vineyards. Locals whispered about the Caldera Society, an ancient group that believed certain souls were too valuable to die. That's when she met Theo. He was an archaeologist from Athens, but something about him felt different. He believed her. He listened. He knew about Lily. "I was in love with her," he admitted, eyes dark as volcanic stone. "But I never had a chance to tell her. The man in white, he did." Theo and Claire discovered Lily's journal hidden in a chapel wall. It was encrypted, but one phrase appeared again and again. "Memory is the truest prison." The journal led them to Akrotiri, the buried city. At night, they snuck in. Claire felt dizzy as if the island itself breathed through the ruins. They found a room below ground. Candles still burned. And on the wall, photos of Lily. Her face, altered, erased. Then, a sound behind them. Gunshot. Theo fell. She ran. Through tunnels. Over the cliffs. Her hands shaking. Her dress soaked in his blood. She reached the villa, grabbed her bag, and headed to the port. But the ferry wasn't coming. Instead, a yacht waited offshore. And the man in white was on it, waving. "I know you've seen her," Claire said, her voice hoarse. He smiled. "She's not the person you think she is." "Neither am I." She pulled the small pistol Theo had given her. One shot. The white hat fell first. They never found the body. Or Lily. But weeks later, in Istanbul, Claire was browsing a market when she saw a postcard. Blank. Except for one thing. Pressed violet and the phrase, "Some things only bloom in shadows." She turned. A woman passed by. Same eyes. Same walk. Gone. Claire smiled, heart aching. Maybe it wasn't about truth. Or revenge. Or even love. Maybe it was about letting go. And starting over. Where no one knows your name. Claire hadn't planned to stay in Istanbul. But when you shoot a man off a yacht and your dead sister sends you flowers, plans become a luxury. She checked into a faded guest house near the Bosphorus. No passport, no luggage, just questions. The violet from the postcard was still in her coat pocket. She didn't know how it had followed her, or why her sister, if alive, would want to stay hidden. But she knew one thing. The Caldera Society hadn't ended with that gunshot in Santorini. Early one morning, the fog over the Galata Bridge was thick as soup. Claire wandered restlessly, trying to feel something other than guilt. A street violinist played a haunting tune. Behind him, a woman watched her. Same height, same hair, too far to tell. Claire took a step forward. The woman vanished down an alley. Claire chased, lost her in the crowd. She turned the corner and slammed into someone. Theo. Alive. Bleeding. Theo explained everything in fragments between gasps of pain. The man in white, not alone. Order still alive. Lily. She joined them. Claire froze. That's impossible. Theo shook his head. She faked her death to disappear. She's not a victim. She's part of it now. They hid in an abandoned hammam in Ballet. There, Theo showed her a coded letter from Lily, hidden inside a copy of the Odyssey. Odysseus had to become no one to survive. So did I. Follow the burning woman. Claire didn't understand. Until the fire started. That night, the historic Maiden's Tower caught fire. The press called it an electrical short. But Claire knew better. On a rooftop opposite the flames, she saw her again. Lily. Watching. Calm. Dressed in black silk. She didn't run this time. Claire crossed the roofs, barefoot, heart beating like a war drum. They stood face to face at last. "You're alive," Claire whispered. Lily didn't deny it. "I had to disappear. You don't understand the kind of people we were up against. You joined them. I infiltrated them. There's a difference." Claire didn't believe her. Not fully. But it didn't matter. Sisters stood, side by side, as the tower burned. Lily led Claire to a secret society gathering inside an old Ottoman mansion. Everyone wore masks, cloaks, no names spoken. The Caldera Society was planning something big, something that reached far beyond art smuggling. Human trafficking, fake identities, political manipulation. The society's roots weren't just ancient, they were modern, global. And Lily? She had a role to play. But someone in the room recognized Claire. "You don't belong here," a voice growled. Then a gunshot. Theo appeared again, dragging Claire through chaos. Lily vanished. Again. They fled through a network of tunnels under the city, carved centuries ago by Byzantines. Bleeding, breathless, Claire collapsed in a stone chamber. "I don't know what's real anymore," she whispered. Theo took her hand. "You're real. I'm real. What we felt on that island, that was real too." They kissed, not with passion but desperation. Outside, Istanbul smoldered. A week later, Claire stood at Ataturk Airport. One flight to London, one to Athens. She carried 2 passports, one real, one fake. She could disappear forever, or she could go back and face Lily. And the truth. A news bulletin played overhead. Interpol raids mansion in Istanbul. Dozens arrested. Key suspect still missing. Lily Dawson, presumed dead. Claire smiled sadly. Presumed dead. Again. She boarded the flight to Athens. 2 months later, in a small bookstore in Crete, Claire found a book. The Odyssey. Inside, a pressed violet. No note this time. Just memory. She looked out over the sea. Maybe some stories don't end. They echo. Over waves, between cities, through shadows. And maybe love doesn't always save you. Sometimes it just keeps you going.